back again. So last year when I did Book Trek, it was my first year co-hosting, and I got through the first month and everything was just chaos for that entire summer. So I ended up making like 3 or maybe 4 Star Trek videos, and then I was unable to do any more videos for the rest of the summer. But I did read Star Trek books and listen to some on audio, and I never did come back and talk about any of those. But the big star of last year for me was the Prey trilogy. So the Prey trilogy was written by John Jackson Miller. They are absolutely fantastic. They are the best Star Trek story I have read so far. Book 1 is Prey. Oh, no, it's not Prey. it's Hell's Heart. Book 2 is The Jackal's Trick. And Book 3 is The Hall of Heroes. So there is a lot going on in this trilogy. The centerpiece of the trilogy is the Klingons, and a group of dishonored Klingons that have come together to form a type of community. And we see a lot of Star Trek characters. We see all of the TNG cast. We see some of the TOS cast. We see them in their own time period at the start of the story. But we see some Voyager characters and some Deep Space Nine characters. And we even see some of the villains from the various Star Treks. And I was absolutely thrilled because my favorite villain from TNG played an important part towards the end of the storyline. So yeah, this was really well written. It's really well done. It was very thoroughly thought out. It paced really well. Just everything about this was fantastic. There was nothing I disliked. It was fantastic. Every Star Trek fiction reader should read this trilogy. And then I read Q and Law by Peter David. And, you know, I did like this book. It was an awful lot of fun. And everybody was in character. However, something I noticed as I was reading through this book is there were a lot of lines that were just completely lifted from the show. Like verbatim lines from various episodes of TNG the author used in this book to give his characters dialogue. And I just couldn't decide how I felt about that. But the story was still fun. I still really liked the story. Lwaxana Troi becomes romantically interested in Q, and hilarity ensued. So yeah, this was definitely a fun read. And then I read a TOS novel, Headlong Flight by Dayton Ward. This one is, I kind of don't know how to describe this without spoiling anything. So this is a multi-dimensional sort of Star Trek episode. We've got Picard when he was captain of the Enterprise, and then we have Riker showing up from a different time period and a timeline that played out differently in his universe. And then we have some Romulans from Captain Kirk's era of Star Trek interacting. So I really liked this. I thought it was really good. And it's a standalone. It's not part of a larger storyline. But yeah, I would, if somebody asked me, I would say, yeah, you should read it. And then as one of the away missions, I read Night of the Living Trekkies, which is about a zombie outbreak that happens during a Star Trek convention. Some of my fellow Star Trek Book Trek co-hosts didn't like this book, but I really liked it. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. Did I think it was a piece of, you know, wonderful Star Trek fiction that every Star Trek fan should read? No. But did I think it was a good time? Yes, definitely. I thought it was fun. Then I read the novelization of Star Trek The Motion Picture by Gene Roddenberry. And Star Trek The Motion Picture was a movie that I really liked when I saw it when I was a lot younger and in my 20s. Then I didn't watch it for years. But I must say the novelization, way better. Just so much better. Like, feels like there's so much more going on in the book than there was in the movie because you're in the characters' heads more. And I just felt like Gene Roddenberry did a great job of putting that on paper. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was way better than the movie, and I will definitely reread this at some point. Then another away mission book was Boldly Go by William Shatner. I actually did this on audiobook, and then I ended up liking it so much that I hunted down a used hardback copy. This was just filled with a lot of interesting stuff. I'll probably re-listen to this at some point on audiobook. And then another away mission book was Fan Fiction by Brent Spiner. So Brent Spiner based this story on something that had really happened during the filming of Star Trek The Next Generation. And of course, this is a very fictionalized version of it, but it's sort of a mystery and it has kind of a slightly noir feel to it. And it was surprisingly very, very good and genuinely funny, like really like laugh out loud funny. And I was extremely entertained by this. I was surprised at how good I thought this was. So yeah, if you haven't read this and you're kind of on the fence about it, I'll just push you over and say you definitely should read it. And then I read the first Strange New Worlds novel called The High Country by John Jackson Miller. So this one was about the Enterprise investigating a planet where the moment any kind of technology gets close to it, all of the power is sucked out of it and it goes dead. Technology is basically completely useless on this planet. So the Enterprise gets itself into trouble and the away team gets stuck on the surface. I really, really liked it, but I did think it was a bit long. The whole time they're on the surface of the planet was a bit drawn out. You spent so much time with Captain Pike and so little time with the other away team members who are stuck on the surface that it made it feel a bit imbalanced. So I didn't enjoy that aspect. Even though I did enjoy all of the stuff that happened with Pike, it was good. It just, I felt like I wanted to know what happened with the other members of the away team. So, despite that one small flaw, it was really good and I did really enjoy it. And there's a second Strange New Worlds novel coming out this year, which I have pre-ordered, and I'm really looking forward to reading that one as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it comes out in August. So it should be in time for Book Trek, so hooray for that. So in my one wrap-up Book Trek video from last year that I was able to do, I was in the middle of reading the first half of the 50-year mission, the first 25 years. I finished that, really, really enjoyed it, although it was a bit disheartening to hear how much ill will was happening between the actors of the original show and between all the production members and things like that. There was a lot of drama happening, and that was a bit disappointing. However, I also read the second half of that, which was the next 25 years, and this was fantastic. This mostly is about TNG, but they do cover, there's a section on Deep Space Nine and a section on Voyager. I cannot remember if Enterprise is in here. It might be, but if it is, it's an even smaller section. But most of this is TNG, and I really, really enjoyed that, especially since the TNG actors didn't have all that drama. There was some drama going on with some of the production writing staff, but the actors themselves apparently just loved each other and got along super well. And then there was some drama on the Voyager production apparently, but it wasn't terrible, not like it was with TOS. And yeah, I really liked this one. This was fantastic. So I was super pleased that I read especially this one. Both of them really, but this one was especially good. And then finally, this was my final away mission book, A Brief History of Black Holes and Why Nearly Everything You Know About Them Is Wrong by Dr. Becky Smethurst. So Dr. Becky is a YouTuber, and I do subscribe to her channel and watch her. I really, really enjoy her personality. She's really good about taking complicated concepts and breaking them down and explaining them to you so that you can at least understand the concept of what she's talking about. And this book was absolutely no different. I think it's a really great beginner book, and also I did this on audiobook as well, and she narrates it herself, so then you get her wonderful bubbly personality in the audiobook. So yeah, very, very enjoyable. Okay, so that is all of the books that I read last year that I didn't talk about in videos, and I'll call that the end of the video.